The cold vacuum of space stretched endlessly, a dark sea dotted with distant stars. Among them floated the Titanus, a colossal starship once celebrated as the pride of the Galactic Coalition. Its massive hull, once gleaming and proud, was now scarred by battle, riddled with deep scratches and patches of exposed metal. Smoke drifted lazily from ruptured sections, and flickering lights cast eerie shadows across its broken corridors. For all its size and power, the ship seemed almost alive in its suffering. Somewhere deep inside the hull, a faint signal pulsed, weak but steady. It was a distress call. Not just a normal one, there was a tone to it that suggested more than just urgency. It almost sounded like a plea. Whoever, or whatever, was sending it was desperate. Far away, orbiting a small, rocky moon, human mechanic Alex Mercer received the signal. Alex was known across several systems as a brilliant engineer, capable of repairing machines that others had long given up on. Even the most advanced alien technology could be tamed with his hands and mind. And yet, when the Titanus's call reached him, even he felt a shiver of unease. He sat in his small spacecraft, the Iron Hawk, scanning the coordinates. The distress signal came from the unclaimed edges of space, a region notorious for sudden asteroid storms and rogue pirates. A ship this big doesn't just die, he muttered to himself, rubbing the bridge of his nose. If it's asking for help, it's bad. Despite the risk, Alex didn't hesitate. Curiosity and a sense of duty burned in him. He was a human, and humans thrived on challenges. If there was a way to save this ship, he would find it. The journey to the Titanus was long and tense. Meteors streaked past the Iron Hawk, and Alex navigated them with a mixture of skill and instinct, the small ship twisting and turning through narrow gaps in space. Hours passed before the silhouette of the Titanus came into view, a dark, immense shape against the starry backdrop. It was breathtaking and terrifying. The Titanus was enormous, even in its crippled state, stretching over a kilometer from bow to stern. The once perfect lines of its hull were twisted and shattered. One of its engines hung at a dangerous angle, sparking intermittently. Alex felt a pang of respect and fear. He docked carefully, the airlock hissing as it sealed. Inside, the ship was silent except for the faint hum of failing systems. The corridors were dark, illuminated by flickering emergency lights. Panels hung loose, and some walls were scorched, as if the ship had been through a storm of fire. And then he heard it. A voice not human, not quite mechanical, but somewhere in between. It came from deep within the ship's core. Help, Alex froze. The word was soft, strained, and somehow filled with emotion. It wasn't coming from the few surviving crew members he had glimpsed. It came from the ship itself. Show me where it's coming from, he whispered, more to himself than to anyone else. As he moved through the corridors, he encountered the remaining crew. They were a small, exhausted group, dressed in scorched uniforms, eyes wide with fear and relief. They were glad to see help, but wary of him. "Who are you?" one of them asked, a young officer with ash on her face. "Name's Alex Mercer," he said, keeping his voice calm. "I got your distress signal. I'm here to fix this ship." The officer shook her head. "You can't. The Titanus, it's dying. No one has ever repaired her after this." Alex looked around, taking in the broken walls, the flickering lights, the scorched engines. He smiled faintly. Then maybe it's time someone tried. The crew followed him cautiously as he moved deeper into the ship. He ignored their whispered concerns and focused on the work ahead. Panels were opened, conduits exposed, sparks flying from every corner. Alex's hands moved quickly, twisting wires, patching circuits, and rerouting energy flows. And then he reached the heart of the ship, the AI core. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. A pulsating sphere of light, partially cracked, hovering within a field of sparks and flickering energy. The AI's voice resonated around him. Calm, but weary. "Human," it said. "You are different," Alex chuckled. Different? I get that a lot. But right now, we need to save you. The AI hesitated, as if considering him. Then it spoke again. I am failing. My systems cannot repair themselves. The galaxy believes I am lost. Not while I'm here, Alex replied. I fix things others say are impossible. That includes you. For hours, he worked, guided partially by instinct and partially by the AI itself. It communicated in flickers of light, streams of data, and sometimes in words only he could understand. The repairs were complicated, the ship was massive, and many systems were interlinked. A single mistake could destabilize the hull further. Yet, as he worked, Alex felt something extraordinary. The ship was alive in a way no machine should be. It reacted to his actions almost like a living creature, responding to his adjustments, easing strain, and even shifting its internal energy to accommodate his repairs. By dawn, the first signs of life returned. The lights steadied, and the hum of the engines grew stronger. The crew watched in awe. Alex wiped his hands on his uniform, exhaustion weighing on him. You're fixing it, the officer whispered. Alex nodded, a faint smile on his lips. And it's not just me. You've got something in here that most humans don't have a connection. You can feel it too. The AI spoke again, its voice stronger now. Human, you are capable of understanding me. Alex felt a thrill of excitement. This was no ordinary repair. He wasn't just saving a ship, he was awakening a giant, one that could remember its past, learn, and adapt. And perhaps, with his help, become something even greater. As he moved deeper into the control room, he examined the weapon systems. Most were offline, damaged beyond recognition. Some were jammed by safety protocols that had never been tested in combat. But Alex's mind raced. If he could restore even a portion of these systems, the Titanus could defend itself, perhaps even fight back. The thought made his pulse quicken. This was no longer just a rescue mission. The ship had potential, a potential that no other species could have unlocked. And somehow, the AI seemed to sense his thoughts, responding with quiet, almost shy flickers of light. Then came the first test. A rogue asteroid, still caught in the Titanus's gravity well, threatened to strike the hull. Alex acted without hesitation, rerouting auxiliary energy to the deflector shields. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the ship groaned as it adjusted its position. But the shields held. The crew cheered, some with tears in their eyes. The AI's voice was calm, almost reverent. Human, you saved me. Momentarily. But I am still fragile. Alex nodded, exhausted but determined. Then we'll keep going. One step at a time. Hours turned into days as he repaired systems, patched hull breaches, and stabilized the engines. The ship slowly regained strength, its hum turning from a weak whisper into a confident, steady rhythm. Every panel fixed, every wire rerouted, every spark controlled. Alex felt a deep bond forming with the Titanus. It was more than just a ship now. It was alive, aware, and strangely grateful. Finally, he stood at the main bridge, looking out at the stars. The Titanus floated before him, a wounded giant rising again. And for the first time, he felt the ship respond with anticipation, as if readying itself for what was to come. Alex knew the galaxy had underestimated humans before. They had laughed at their small ships, their clever tricks, their courage. But now, in the heart of a ship that could crush entire fleets, one human stood at the helm, ready to prove that even the smallest species could change the course of the stars. The Titanus whispered through its AI, almost as if smiling. Human, we will rise. Alex Mercer smiled back, his hands resting on the controls. We're just getting started. And with that, the journey of a dying giant and the human who could make it unstoppable had truly begun. The Titanus hummed quietly, its systems slowly returning to life under Alex Mercer's careful hands. The air inside the ship was cleaner now, and the emergency lights had stabilized to a steady glow. Sparks still flew occasionally, and some sections of the hull were far from repaired. But the heart of the ship, the AI core, was awake and aware. It pulsed with energy, as if it had been waiting centuries for someone like Alex to arrive. Alex stood on the main deck, staring at the console that controlled the massive vessel. His hands were blackened with grease, his uniform torn in places, but his eyes were bright with determination. Around him, the remaining crew moved cautiously, tending to minor repairs and monitoring the ship's core systems. The tension in the air was thick, but it was accompanied by a sense of hope that the impossible could be achieved. "Human," the AI spoke, its voice calm but filled with a quiet strength. "You have done what no other being has attempted. My systems are stable, yet fragile. I sense potential." Alex leaned on the console, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Potential, huh? Then we better start using it. I don't just fix broken things. I improve them." The AI's lights flickered thoughtfully. "Improvement requires understanding. You are different. I sense intuition within you. I sense creativity." Alex grinned. "That's the human way. We improvise. We adapt. And we survive." With a renewed purpose, Alex began to explore the ship's weapon systems. Many of them were offline, damaged beyond recognition. The defensive cannons had been blasted apart, the missile bays partially collapsed, and the energy shields were barely functional. But Alex was undeterred. He could see a plan forming in his mind, a plan that no alien engineer could have imagined. He started by rerouting power from less critical systems to stabilize the main reactors. The hum of energy grew stronger, and the ship's systems responded to his commands. Then he turned his attention to the weapons. Using scraps and spare parts, he began rebuilding the defensive cannons into plasma disruptors, capable of firing precise, high-energy blasts that could punch through the toughest armor. "This is going to be fun," Alex muttered to himself. "If I can get these cannons working, the Titanus will be unstoppable." The crew watched in awe as he worked. They had seen the ship as a dying relic, a ghost of its former glory. Now, under Alex's hands, it was transforming into something new, something stronger. Meanwhile, the AI began sharing its memories with Alex. Holographic images flickered across the bridge, showing battles that spanned galaxies, fleets destroyed, and the Titanus leading charges against alien invaders. Alex absorbed every detail, learning how the ship had fought in its prime, how its systems had been optimized for both offense and defense. "You've been through a lot," Alex said softly, almost to himself. "But we can make it even better." For hours, he worked tirelessly, combining human intuition with the AI's ancient knowledge. He reinforced the hull in key areas, strengthened the engines, and created adaptive shield systems that could change their energy patterns in real time. The ship seemed to respond to his efforts, pulsing with life and energy, almost as if it were smiling at the human who dared to challenge its limits. Then came the first real test. The ship's sensors detected a small fleet of alien scouts approaching. They were probing, testing to see if the Titanus was truly dead. Alex could see the vessels on the display, sleek and fast, equipped with weapons designed to bypass normal shields. "Looks like we've got company," he said, his voice calm but filled with excitement. "Time to see what we've really built." He activated the rebuilt plasma disruptors, directing power to the shields and engines. The AI assisted, calculating trajectories and energy outputs with precision. For the first time, the Titanus moved as if it were fully alive again, gliding through space with strength and grace. The alien scouts fired their weapons, small energy bolts that could shred a lesser ship in moments. But the Titanus's new shields absorbed the attacks, pulsing brightly as they redistributed the energy across the hull. Alex maneuvered the ship skillfully, using its immense size and newly repaired engines to outflank the enemy. Then, with careful precision, he fired the plasma disruptors. The blasts tore through the alien ships with devastating effect, each shot hitting its mark. The scouts tried to retreat, but Alex anticipated their movements. using the ship's adaptive systems to trap them in a crossfire. Within minutes, the small fleet was destroyed, leaving nothing but drifting wreckage behind. The crew cheered, some with tears in their eyes. The AI's voice was calm, but filled with a new strength. Human. You have exceeded expectation. I am stronger than I was. Together, we can face the galaxy. I descended. I descend. I descended. 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 Alex smiled, feeling a surge of pride. We're just getting started. Over the next several days, Alex continued his work. He enhanced the ship's engines, giving it the ability to perform maneuvers that no other ship of its size could attempt. He created advanced sensor systems that could detect enemy fleets before they were even visible on normal scanners. And he improved the AI's ability to communicate, making it a true partner rather than just a tool. The crew began to trust him, following his lead as they repaired the remaining sections of the ship. They had once feared the Titanus, thinking it was too damaged to save. Now, they moved with confidence, knowing that a single human had changed everything. As the days passed, the AI began to share more of its knowledge. It taught Alex ancient alien engineering techniques, methods that had been lost for centuries. Alex combined these with human improvisation, creating systems that no other species could have imagined. The ship was no longer just a relic, it was evolving into something far beyond its original design. One evening, as Alex worked in the engine room, he felt a shift in the ship's energy. The AI spoke, its voice filled with anticipation. Human. There is a potential, a power that has never been used. With your guidance, we could become unstoppable. Alex paused, considering the possibilities. Unstoppable, huh? That's a big word. But I like it. He spent the next several hours integrating new energy conduits, rerouting power, and testing the limits of the ship's systems. The Titanus responded with a hum that reverberated through the entire hull, as if it were awakening fully for the first time in decades. The crew watched in awe as the ship's lights brightened, its engines glowed, and the newly repaired weapon systems powered up. For the first time, the Titanus looked like it could face any enemy in the galaxy. But the victory was not without tension. The AI warned Alex of potential dangers. The galaxy does not forgive weakness. Others will come. They will test us. You must be prepared. Alex nodded, understanding the weight of the words. I know. But we'll be ready. Humans, we don't give up easily. As he moved through the ship, checking systems, and making small adjustments, he felt a sense of connection with the Titanus. It was more than just metal and circuits now, it was alive, aware, and capable of growth. And he realized something important. The ship's true power would not come from its size or weapons, but from the bond between human and machine. The days turned into nights. Though time felt different aboard the Titanus, Alex continued to work, learning the ship's rhythms, understanding its strengths and weaknesses, and pushing its systems further than anyone had thought possible. The AI became his partner, not just a tool, guiding him while learning from his human creativity. Then came the first real challenge, a massive asteroid storm, larger than anything in the sector. The ship trembled as massive rocks collided with its shields, testing the limits of Alex's repairs. Alarms blared, and the crew scrambled to secure loose equipment. Alex took control, directing energy to the shields and engines. The ship responded to his commands with precision, maneuvering through the storm with agility no one thought possible for a vessel of its size. He fired the plasma disruptors to blast large asteroids out of the way, carefully conserving energy while protecting the hull. Hours later, the storm subsided, leaving the Titanus battered but intact. The crew looked at Alex with awe and respect. The AI's voice, filled with something almost like admiration, said, "Human, you have proven your worth. I am stronger because of you." Alex smiled, exhausted but proud. We're a team, and together, nothing can stop us. As the Titanus floated quietly in space, its systems humming steadily, Alex stood on the main deck, looking out at the stars. The galaxy was vast, filled with dangers and challenges, but he felt ready. The ship was awake, alive, and evolving, and so was he. The bond between human and machine was no longer just a partnership. It was a force that could change the balance of power in the galaxy, and Alex Mercer, a simple human mechanic, had become the key to unlocking it. The Titanus pulsed with energy, its voice calm but filled with anticipation. Human, the galaxy, awaits us. Alex nodded, determination shining in his eyes. Then let's show them what humans can do. And with that, the Titanus and its human mechanic began their journey not just to survive, but to rise, stronger and deadlier than anyone could imagine. The Titanus had awakened. Its engines hummed like a living heartbeat, its shields pulsed with power, and its weapons glowed with potential energy. For the first time in decades, the ship was not just alive, it was learning, adapting, and preparing. Alex Mercer stood on the bridge, surveying the vast expanse of stars. His hands rested lightly on the controls, but his mind was already working, planning the upgrades that would transform the crippled vessel into a force no enemy could challenge. The remaining crew moved efficiently around him, inspired by his confidence. For them, this human mechanic had become more than a savior. He was a symbol of hope. AI, Alex said, speaking aloud. We're going to take you beyond what anyone thought possible. Are you ready? The ship pulsed in response. Human, I am ready. Together, we can surpass expectation. Their first task was to enhance the weapons systems. Alex had already repaired the plasma disruptors, but he wanted more. Using his ingenuity and scraps of technology salvaged from derelict ships, he designed adaptive energy cannons. These cannons could fire in multiple patterns, adjust power based on the enemy's armor, and even predict the trajectory of incoming missiles. The AI assisted, providing calculations and simulations at speeds no human could match. But it was Alex's creativity, his instinct for improvisation, that turned raw data into something extraordinary. Each cannon was tested, recalibrated, and then tested again. The crew watched in awe as energy beams cut through the empty space of the shipyard, precise and lethal. Next, he turned to the shields. The original systems had been purely defensive, designed to absorb attacks and minimize damage. Alex wanted more. Using energy redistribution techniques he had learned from the AI, he created dynamic shields capable of changing their energy patterns mid-battle. They could reflect, absorb, or deflect attacks in ways no other ship could. Humans are good at improvising, Alex said with a grin. You might have power, but we have creativity. The AI responded, almost amused. Creativity is a weapon you wield well. Once the weapons and shields were upgraded, Alex focused on mobility. The Titanus was a massive vessel, and even fully repaired, it moved slower than smaller enemy ships. He redesigned the engines, integrating alien propulsion techniques with human ingenuity. The ship could now perform sharp turns, sudden bursts of speed, and even short-range evasive maneuvers that defied its size. For days, Alex worked tirelessly, often sleeping only a few hours between shifts. The crew rotated in shifts with him, assisting where they could, but much of the work relied on his human intuition and quick thinking. Slowly, the Titanus transformed from a crippled giant into a versatile war machine. But Alex knew that raw power alone was not enough. Strategy was just as important. He began studying enemy patterns, using data the AI had collected over decades. They ran simulations of battles, testing the ship's systems against alien fleets. Alex noticed patterns in the enemy's attacks, predictable movements, repeated weaknesses, and gaps in their formations. Using this information, he designed combat routines that the Titanus could execute automatically, giving them an edge in any confrontation. The first real test came sooner than expected. Scouts from the alien armada that had crippled the Titanus appeared on long-range sensors. They were smaller ships, fast and well-armed, but Alex was ready. He activated the upgraded shields and engines, positioning the ship for the attack. The AI spoke, calm but precise. "Human. I detect 5 ships approaching. They are armed with plasma disruptors and guided missiles. Probability of success, 55%. Alex smiled. "We'll beat those odds. Trust me." The battle began with the alien scouts firing first. Energy bolts streaked toward the Titanus, but the dynamic shields absorbed and deflected the attacks. Alex directed energy to the adaptive cannons, targeting the scouts' engines and weapon systems with pinpoint accuracy. Within minutes, the first scout exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The second followed, and then the third. The remaining ships attempted to retreat, but Alex anticipated their movements. Using the AI's calculations and his own strategic insight, he positioned the Titanus to intercept them. The final 2 scouts were neutralized without damage to the ship. The crew erupted in cheers, but Alex remained focused. This is only a test. The real challenge is still out there. After the engagement, Alex worked on integrating the combat data into the ship's systems. The Titanus could now predict enemy maneuvers, calculate optimal firing solutions, and adjust shields instantly. It was no longer just a ship. It was a weapon that could think, adapt, and execute strategies faster than any human or alien opponent. As the days passed, Alex continued to improve the ship. He installed advanced sensor arrays capable of detecting enemies before they arrived, and created internal communication systems that allowed instant coordination across the entire vessel. The AI began to trust his decisions, and together, they refined the ship's combat protocols to a level that no enemy could match. The crew, once fearful and doubtful, now looked at Alex with awe. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was the architect of a weapon that could change the course of the galaxy. The Titanus itself seemed to recognize this, responding to his commands with efficiency and precision. Then came the moment Alex had been preparing for. A direct confrontation with the alien fleet that had attacked the Titanus months ago. Scouts detected multiple alien warships approaching a formidable armada designed to destroy anything in its path. Human. Probability of survival, low. The AI said, its voice steady but concerned. Alex's jaw tightened. "Then we'll do what humans do best. We'll find a way." The battle began with the alien fleet launching volleys of plasma and missiles. The Titanus responded with precision, its adaptive shields absorbing the attacks, while its energy cannons returned fire. Alex guided the ship expertly, using its newly upgraded engines to outmaneuver the alien formations. The AI provided real-time calculations, suggesting optimal attack paths and defensive adjustments. Alex combined this with his instinct and creativity, devising unpredictable maneuvers that the aliens could not anticipate. One by one, alien ships fell to the Titanus. The adaptive cannons disabled engines, pierced hulls, and neutralized weapon systems with lethal accuracy. The dynamic shields protected the ship from counterattacks, and the engines allowed it to move in ways no other ship its size could. The battle raged for hours, and the Titanus emerged victorious, though not without effort. The ship had taken damage, but Alex's modifications and quick thinking had ensured its survival. The alien fleet retreated, defeated, and confused by the power of a human-guided giant. After the battle, the crew celebrated, but Alex remained on the bridge, analyzing the engagement. "We did well," he said quietly. "But there's always more to learn. Always more ways to improve." The AI's lights pulsed, almost approvingly. "Human, you are remarkable. Together, we are unstoppable." Alex smiled faintly. "Unstoppable enough to protect those who can't protect themselves. That's why we do this." He spent the next days reinforcing damaged systems, improving energy distribution, and upgrading weapons further. The Titanus became faster, smarter, and deadlier with each modification. The crew worked tirelessly, inspired by Alex's dedication and skill. Finally, Alex stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. The Titanus was no longer a crippled relic. It was alive, aware, and prepared for any challenge. But Alex knew the galaxy was vast, and more threats would come. His work was far from finished. The AI spoke, its voice filled with something close to admiration. "Human, we are ready. The galaxy will not know what has returned." Alex nodded. "Then let's make sure they never underestimate us again." The Titanus hummed in agreement, its systems glowing with power and potential. A sleeping giant had awakened, guided by human ingenuity and courage, and together, they were forging a weapon unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. As they traveled through the stars, Alex reflected on what had been achieved. It was not just the technology, not just the upgrades, and not just the AI's power. It was the human spirit that made the difference. Creativity, courage, and determination had transformed a dying ship into a living weapon. The journey was far from over. Enemies lurked in the shadows, waiting for the moment to strike. But Alex Mercer and the Titanus were ready. They were no longer just a human mechanic and a broken ship. They were a force that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, Alex knew that the next chapter of their story would be written in fire, strategy, and the unyielding will of a human mind. The stars stretched endlessly before the Titanus, glittering against the darkness of space. Its engines thrummed with power, shields glimmered like a living armor, and weapons glowed with readiness. The ship had been reborn through human ingenuity, but now it faced its greatest test. On the long-range sensors, the alien armada that had once crippled the Titanus appeared. Hundreds of ships, sleek and deadly, moved in perfect formation, their energy weapons ready to obliterate anything in their path. They had come to finish what they had started. Alex Mercer stood on the bridge, calm but alert. The crew moved quickly, securing systems, readying the upgraded weaponry. The AI pulsed in recognition, aware of the looming threat. "Human. Probability of success is low," it said. Alex clenched his jaw. "Then we'll do what humans always do. We'll fight smarter, not just harder." The first volley of alien attacks streaked through space. Energy bolts and missiles collided with the Titanus's dynamic shields, which absorbed and reflected the blasts. Alex directed power to key systems, rerouting energy from non-essential areas to maintain shields and weapons. The ship responded like a living being, shifting and adapting to the threat in real time. "Engage the plasma disruptors," Alex commanded. The massive cannons fired, their beams tearing through enemy ships with precision. The alien fleet tried to outmaneuver the Titanus, but Alex anticipated their moves, combining instinct with AI calculations to predict their next actions. The battle was relentless. Explosions lit up space as enemy ships fell one by one, but the Titanus was not unscathed. Parts of the hull were scorched, and some weapon systems were damaged. Alex knew the fight would not be won through brute force alone. He activated the ship's new adaptive systems, allowing it to anticipate enemy formations, predict attacks, and adjust energy distribution in milliseconds. The shields pulsed, weapons fired, and the engines performed maneuvers that seemed impossible for a ship of its size. The crew watched in awe as Alex executed a daring strategy. He used the Titanus's mass to create a gravitational slingshot, flinging the ship around a nearby asteroid field. The alien armada was caught off guard, their formations disrupted. Alex directed the ship's weapons to exploit the gaps, and the AI calculated perfect angles for maximum impact. In minutes, the enemy fleet was in chaos. Ships collided, energy weapons misfired, and the Titanus struck with precision, eliminating dozens of vessels in a single coordinated strike. Alex's human intuition, combined with the AI's processing power, had turned the ship into an unstoppable force. But the battle was not over. The alien armada regrouped, sending their heaviest warships forward, behemoths equipped with energy cannons capable of penetrating almost any shield. Alex knew that brute force would not be enough this time. He had to be clever. He studied their formation, analyzing patterns and weaknesses. "AI, suggest alternative maneuvers," he commanded. The AI responded instantly. Human, there is one strategy. It requires precise timing and complete trust in each other. Alex smiled faintly. Then let's trust each other. The plan was daring. The Titanus would split its energy output, using decoy signals to mislead the enemy while concentrating its true power on a single weak point in the Armada's formation. The human crew coordinated with the AI, executing the plan flawlessly. Energy beams shot out like guided arrows, disabling key systems on the alien warships. Explosions rocked the formation as the Titanus struck again and again, each attack calculated for maximum effect. The Armada, massive as it was, began to crumble under the relentless precision of a human-led machine. Alex moved through the bridge with calm efficiency, giving commands that were both bold and precise. The AI adapted instantly to his choices, enhancing every action with millisecond accuracy. Together, human and machine became a single, unstoppable force. Hours passed in the heat of battle. The Titanus had taken damage, but every strike was countered, every weakness addressed. Alex's mind raced, thinking 10 steps ahead of the enemy, anticipating every move. The alien Armada, confident in their superiority, found themselves outmatched by the ingenuity of one human. Finally, the alien command ship, the largest vessel in the fleet, appeared. Its energy cannons were massive, capable of destroying entire sectors. Alex studied it carefully, searching for vulnerabilities. He noticed a pattern in its firing sequence, a brief moment when its shields recalibrated, leaving it exposed. AI, now's our chance, Alex said calmly. Prepare the disruptors. Focus all power on that moment. The Titanus surged forward, engines blazing, as the massive cannons charged. At the exact moment, Alex fired. The energy beam struck with unerring accuracy, breaching the command ship's shields and disabling its engines. The rest of the Armada, now leaderless and confused, began to scatter. The battle was over. Silence returned to the stars, broken only by the hum of the Titanus's systems. The ship had survived, victorious against overwhelming odds. The crew cheered, tears of relief and joy in their eyes. The AI pulsed brightly, its voice almost reverent. Human, we have done what none believed possible. Together, we have prevailed. Alex exhaled deeply, exhaustion and pride mingling in his chest. We did it. All of us. Humans. You. Everyone. The victory was more than just a battle. It was proof that humans could change the course of the galaxy. One human, armed with ingenuity, courage, and determination, had turned a dying ship into the deadliest weapon the universe had ever seen. In the days that followed, Alex worked tirelessly to repair the damage sustained during the battle. The Titanus had taken hits, but its systems were resilient. The crew assisted, inspired by the human who had led them to victory. The AI shared knowledge freely, teaching Alex techniques from across the galaxy, blending alien engineering with human innovation. As repairs continued, Alex reflected on what had been achieved. The Titanus was no longer just a weapon, it was a symbol of human potential. Proof that even the smallest species could overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. The ship had been saved, enhanced, and transformed into a force that could protect the galaxy from any threat. The human crew worked alongside Alex, learning, improving, and growing. They were no longer mere survivors. They were pioneers, part of a new legacy born from courage and ingenuity. The AI, once weakened and dying, now thrived under the human's guidance, evolving in ways no one could have imagined. One evening, as Alex stood on the main deck, looking out at the stars, the AI spoke softly. Human, the galaxy will remember this day. Not for my power, but for yours. Alex smiled faintly. It's not just me. Humans are more than what others see. We adapt, we create, we fight for what matters. That's how we survive. The Titanus pulsed in acknowledgement, its systems alive and thriving. Together, human and machine had created something extraordinary, proof that courage, ingenuity, and determination could surpass even the greatest odds. As the Titanus floated through space, its weapons ready, its engines blazing, and its shields glowing, Alex knew their journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast, and threats would always rise. But now, they were ready. The Titanus, under the guidance of a single human, was a beacon of hope and power. Legends of the human mechanic and the ship that should have died spread across star systems. Aliens whispered stories of the human who had defied expectations, outsmarted fleets, and awakened a sleeping giant. The tale inspired countless others, proving that one human mind, combined with courage and creativity, could change the course of the galaxy. Alex Mercer stood on the bridge, hands resting on the controls, a faint smile on his face. "We've done it," he said quietly. "And this is just the beginning." The Titanus pulsed in agreement, alive and ready for whatever the universe would throw at it next. Together, they had forged a weapon, a protector, and a legacy that would endure for generations. Human and ship were no longer separate, they were one force, a living testament to the power of ingenuity, courage, and the unyielding human spirit. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of challenges and possibilities, and for the first time in its long life, the Titanus was truly alive, guided by a human, unstoppable, and ready to shape the destiny of the galaxy.